How can we fine tune our enlightenment equipment? Okay, that's the question for today. I'm Thomas, and welcome to my channel. I do educational videos on a number of different topics. Uh, in particular, I do videos on Tree of Life. So this is the diagram here for the Tree of Life. It's ancient Egyptian in origin. You may also recognize it as the Hebrew Kabbalah. According to the lore, the Hebrews got it indirectly from the Egyptians. And then the Egyptians probably got it from the people from Atlantis, who got it from the people from Lemuria, and so on and so forth. So we don't know where it came from, but what you can see is that it's got 10 different circles that are numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then there's also a thing here called the abyss. And then there's a thing above the tree called the 0. So 0 through 10 plus the abyss. That's 12 different categories, which I classify as our faculties of consciousness. So these are 12 different faculties of consciousness. Starting from 10, we've got the instinct, the animal consciousness. We've got the domestic consciousness. This is what we're getting when we're first growing up. We're in the house, in the household, and we're very receptive, and we're basically studying and copying, mimicking, and memorizing the things that we're perceiving from our parents or whoever's raising us. Asphere is a similar thing, but in the public sphere. So when we go out into the so-called real world, then we pay attention to the teachers and the media and the preachers, the expert opinion, and the people with the white lab coats. And they tell us what we're supposed to believe, and then we believe that, and that puts us in the asphere. It really actually puts us in the ninth sphere, where we're believing the people in the eighth sphere. So the people in the eighth sphere are propagating this stuff. And then the seventh sphere is for people who eventually see what's going on in the eighth sphere and see a big problem with it. And so they move over to the seventh sphere, which has to do with our creative spark, inspiration, has to do with our pleasure principle. And so we come over here, we saw what was wrong here, and so we work on artistic endeavors, also inventions to make things better for that eighth sphere. This also is a kind of a wedge to get us moving up toward the higher part of the tree. That's where really our inspiration. The sixth sphere is at the center here, and it's connected with all the other spheres. We here are at the center. We could put a thing here that said, "You are here." So we're at the center. This is where we pay attention from, and this is where we make decisions from. Now, paying attention, the first thing in general is we're paying attention to the bottom of the tree. We're paying attention to what we learned from our parents or what we learned from the society, our conditionings, and even from our instinct. These are our conditionings. But here at the sixth sphere, we have to ignore our conditionings and move up into, what really is the realm of the now, the higher spiritual aspects of ourselves that are within ourselves. So the fifth sphere is the first one of those. This is our sense of justice. This is our sense of the natural law, also our universals, the universal law, the universal language, and universal love. So the law is articulated here at the fourth sphere. It is enforced here at the fifth sphere. This is the law of karma. For every action, there's an equal opposite and reaction. As you sow, so shall you reap. Also here a lot of things that relate to nonviolence. So, with a nonviolent approach, you kind of clean up your karma. This whole triangle here is kind of an evolution of karma, an evolution of fear. So you know, we're learning that both our fear and our karma are really our friends in order to try to help us point out our weaknesses to us so that we can improve. Here are the thirds. The abyss is having to do with our psychic powers, primarily our ability to recognize and to act upon omens. At the third sphere, this is omnipotence. Second sphere, omniscience. First sphere, omnipresence. So omnipotence, all-powerful. We develop this primarily through sound practices, mantra in particular. These all have power. So you can kind of see this in the most crude way in like a person serving, a tennis player. When they have to get that extra oomph into their serve, they grunt. And that sound, it doesn't have any meaning, but it has power. It gives them a little bit extra power. So that's a very crude way of looking at it, but that does demonstrate the point. Then here at the second sphere, we have omniscience, all-knowing. So this is really our wisdom faculty, which in particular is our ability to solve problems. Then here we have the first sphere, omnipresence, all-powerful, all everywhere, eternally. And so this is just really, you could call it an ether. This is something that's all pervasive. It's always there, ubiquitous, and it's always at our deepest center. So that is the tree. The zero sphere above the tree is about the mystery. It's the part of the universe that the creator reserves for itself. So it's part of the universe that we're not privy to, or maybe it's a part of a different universe, but it's something that we're not privy to. It also has to do with the emotional content of the first sphere. So the first sphere has no emotions, whereas the ninth sphere has the emotions of the 10th sphere. So it's kind of like upside down. Okay, so now that's the kind of short version. Now, what I've done with my studies of the tree is I've taken the entire tree and superimposed it for pedagogical purposes onto each one of the spheres. So I broke down the 10th sphere into its 12 parts, broke down the 9th sphere into its 12 parts, broke down the 8th sphere into its 12 parts, and so on, for a total of 144 different parts, or what I would call fractal faculties or stages of life. So what I've come up with then as a teaching model is the 144 fractal faculties or stages of life. If you'd like me to send you a copy of that, an annotated version, just click the link below and I'll send out a free copy to you. It helps you to keep score at home as I roll out all 144 of these different fractal faculties. You'll be able to see where they fit in and where they line up and how they relate with each other and so on and so forth. Now today, we're going to be looking at fractal number 82, stage number 82, which is called scientific insight. Now, if we look again at the diagram, the stage number 82 is here within the fourth sphere, and it's the second fractal of the fourth sphere. So over here, second fractal of the fourth sphere. So it is Really, the fourth sphere is about the universal law, universal language, and universal love. In particular, in this context, would be probably more like the universal law. And then the second sphere is our wisdom faculty, or our ability to solve problems, and omniscience. So all-knowing aspects of the universal law. So that's what we're dealing with, scientific insight. And the question again was, how can we fine-tune our Enlightenment equipment? Scientific insight. Stage number 82 is about developing our intuition to the point we gain insight into universal scientific principles. Intuition is not a source, but a transmission mechanism, a key piece of our Enlightenment equipment. Intuition gives us answers to simple questions. It's universal, but we must follow through to fine-tune. Since our original sources were poisoned, we must also unlearn and relearn. Seek and ye shall find. That intuition, our Enlightenment equipment, will point us to out-of-the-way sources that will get us on our way to building new foundations for our own research. So, following up can be quite circuitous, but it is necessary since we must unlearn and then relearn. If we have researched what we've wondered about, if we investigated, if we followed up, then we are now readying for a more complex communication from intuition, not just for simple answers, but for complex questions. For more preparation, we then embark upon a full consideration of the entire setting. We must detach, because a full consideration can be made only if we're not invested, but in the truth, the pursuit of it. We have to take our emotions and desires out of the equation. We need weightlessness of the heart, weightlessness of the will, without conditionings to hold us back, to weigh us down, to throw off the balance of our scales. Truth is, regardless of how we feel about it, just follow it, just pursue it. We gain insight if truth is our only motive, which when our hearts do not weigh us down, we can be neutral and can respond perfectly to the reality. Then we can balance and fine-tune the truth. As we tune in further, we introduce a systematic worldview, a cosmology. Once we start to assemble a systematic worldview, then we'll also find that fear goes away, as we only fear what we do not yet understand. Fear even serves as a check on that systematic worldview. It aids us in figuring out how to live in harmony with the natural cycles, how to harness the forces, harness the sources of nature. We enjoy intuitive, cosmologically ordered thinking, built upon a historical foundation, a historical legacy that can solve scientific problems of long standing. As we continue our investigation, our research, we get a deeper level of intuition, as intuition becomes scientific insight. Still, even if we get the transmission, truth still can only be known through living. The answer from intuition is correct, but did we pick up the message? We must verify through our lives to make sure that we are translating the messages correctly. Scientific insight is a healing phenomenon, a healing demonstration. As we learn to solve the problems that plagued us, we gained spiritual and ethical fluency. We watched the epic drama with fear ending as we uncovered a cosmological system. Due to all that disciplined research, all that just analysis and perspiration, now that we have fine-tuned our enlightenment equipment, we're ready to receive scientific insight, a two-dimensional intuition for posterity and for the service of others. Or maybe that would be the service to others. Okay. That is Scientific Insight, stage number 82. And that's the second fractal of the fourth sphere. And that is another one of the 144 fractal faculties of our state or stages of life, cosmology, history, and spirituality. And if you'd like me to send you a free copy of the annotated version of that, 144 fractal faculties, just click the link below. I'll send it out, and then you can use it as you listen to more of these as I roll them out day by day. Okay, so check me out next time. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you've gotten through this far, and have a beautiful day. Thank you.